Hello friends, we're about to begin a truly motivating, inspiring and life-changing journey on our special series, The Healing Touch by Nawaz Singhania, India's leading lifestyle and fitness icon, the founder of Body Art and Fitness Center and popularly known as the First Lady of Fitness in India. She's a certified fitness professional from ACE and IDEA, helping individuals across the globe to be healthier and fitter. She has helped and guided marathoner Michelle Kakte to achieve the Guinness World Record. Not just that, during COVID-19, she spearheaded the online programs to help people stay active and healthy. She collaborated with Bollywood celebrities to help promote fitness. Beyond fitness, Nawaz is also a noted columnist, artist, author of the book Pause Rewind. She also brings her expertise to the corporate world as a board of director at the Raymond Limited. Welcome to the show, The Healing Touch by Nawaz Singhania. In this episode, we'll deep dive into the childhood state of healing. Childhood is a state of wonder, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, sometimes beautiful, sometimes painful. From the love and security that we receive to the fear, trauma and rejection that we face, everything becomes a part of us as we grow up. But what if we don't remember it all? What if there are things that we don't remember, yet they shape our future, our relations as well as our health? In this episode, the incredible Nawaz Singhania is going to help us understand how childhood trauma manifests into our mind and body. Over to Nawaz. Welcome to the show, The Healing Touch. We're always happy to have you because every time you come on the show, there's a path that we walk together. So in today's episode, we are going to deep dive into our childhood traumas and learn everything that can make us the best version of ourselves.
It's about healing. It's about knowing, recognizing and healing.
So well said, and let's get started now.
Sure.
So Nawaz, childhood memories have such great influence on us and they shape us in becoming who we are today. Can you share a little bit on that, how childhood makes you and breaks you also?
So childhood memories, starting from the very earliest, if they're traumatic, and there are a variety of traumatic experiences a child could go through, for instance, parents separating, divorce of parents, natural disasters, war, living in a dangerous neighborhood, being neglected emotionally, physically, violence, sexual or otherwise, verbal, etc. There are a lot of things that can be very traumatic. Death, financial ruination, etc. It can have profound effects on a child and their whole personality, shaping them entirely. Bases their experiences there and then. A child determines how safe or unsafe the world is and how they need to be, how they need to present themselves in order to just survive. That then makes them who they are, entirely. And that then can go into a range of issues, pathological and otherwise.
But you know, as we grow up, we don't remember everything. But what we do, our patterns, our behavior, everything is somewhere in our head, the subconscious and the conscious. How does that work and why is that we remember certain things and we don't?
So a very common defense mechanism, survival mechanism that the body has is to just blank out on certain things. They're too harmful, they're too detrimental to be able to remember, to then be able to survive. The mind just does it. It's an amazing machine. When we blank out certain portions of our childhood, we just don't have any memories of it at all, just to be able to survive. That doesn't mean the damage hasn't been done and the damage hasn't taken its course and continuing on a daily basis to affect us. It does. There are some things which the mind can remember, which could be traumatic, but the mind remembers. And that's direct trauma. Why? There's no saying why a person remembers certain things and another one doesn't. They may have had the same family experiences, the same parents, they could be siblings having gone through the same stuff. Each one will remember different things and forget different things. It's an individual thing. We all are in our own. For example, an elder child, a firstborn, will have very different experiences than a lastborn will. Even though they're born of the same parents, living in the same family, many things are different and change. So as a result, that's how it is.
So as childhood memories remind us, particularly a certain smell or a place or certain sound, it instantly takes you back to a moment, to a memory. Do sensory triggers play a big role in this?
Yes, they do, because those sensory triggers can be negative as well. Sights, sounds, smells, etc. are how we perceive the world. Our five senses is how we perceive the whole world. We have no other way of perceiving the world. That then replicates into the mind, into the soul, into emotions, etc. We may have a certain smell of a certain place, of whatever, a certain kind of rasmalai or in Calcutta or whatever it might be, and no other smell replicates that. That memory is associated only with that one thing. And therefore, naturally, we as human beings always associate things. One is associated with another. If I say black, you're going to say white. If I say right, you're going to say left. We live in associations. Nothing stands alone by itself. Everything is a comparison to something else. I am large because something else is small. I am tall because something else is short, for instance. And therefore, those memories exist. And they are just the soul's methodology, prongs, sensory notions of perceiving the world. That's all. But eventually it replicates on the soul, it replicates on the mind, on the personality, and plays out.
So parents play a very important role in the child's early age, not just providing them but also creating an emotional foundation for them. And unintentionally, intentionally, there are so many things that they do. How does that create an impact on the child's memory?
So yin yang, mother, father, father, protector, provider, mother, caretaker, nurturer, in their traditional roles, is all the child knows. It's the child's whole world. Now, as they say, don't worry that your children don't listen to you, but worry hugely that they watch you very closely. Process of osmosis. They pick up on what is and what we are. It's less about the yap and more about, it's less about the talk really and more about the walk. So as a result, we are emulating our parents' every move. They are our role models. The first people that were there when we opened our eyes, and the most important people in our trajectory. And naturally, therefore, we take from them positively and also negatively.
So does the relation of the child with their parent impact their relations in the future with others?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. There's a lot of pathology out there, and that we won't even touch that subject right now. That goes back to childhood wounding and parenting and why a person is what they are in terms of diagnosis. But let's not touch upon that today. That's deep and wide and out of our purview. There is nothing more profound. There's nothing more impactful.
Well, children are deeply resilient and impressionable. How does trauma shape their understanding, whether big or small? And is it different for a girl and a boy?
While children are resilient, yes, they are also very vulnerable. They are dependent. They don't have any other choices. They have to toe the line. They're scared. They are inexperienced. They're not made of stone. And they're not God. So as a result, they suffer deeply. They can take from it positively and decide who not to be, who not to become, who never to be like. In the process of that, many people also become precisely what they absolutely detest, because somewhere in their personality they find there's no other way of dealing with it. There's no other way of coming out on top. I may look at something I hate, a personality trait in somebody, in my parent that I hate. Whatever it may be, maybe it's raging, flying into fits of fury. And I may say, this is something I'll never become. This is who I'll never become. But that's all I know, that's all I've learned. And I see that that's a highly successful technique. It may not be a great person, but it works. People are scared of you, it works. And after a point of time, I may decide that, hey, subconsciously, of course, that it's not about being a good person and choosing who to be and who not to be, etc. But it's about just the dynamic of who's on top, who's below. If I'm below, you're on top. I don't want that. I want to flip it. I want to be on top, you have to be below. Survival. I don't see anything else. And a whole host of other things can also be the case out there in the flip. It can be completely, a person may do this in a very nonchalant sort of a fashion, not very self-aware, don't want to be even. There are so many ingredients to that mix that it's hard to say. Men and women can behave very differently, yes, but depends on the individual circumstances out there and their individual roles, the individual expectations of their life. And then the mix of all that trauma can make them a very different animal from one another. Again, how, what is case by case.
And do you think it also makes a difference when there's an absence of parent, be it a father or a mother?
An absence of parenting really means that we weren't corrected in the right way at the right time. We weren't taught, we didn't receive the life skills, we were not educated about etiquette, behavior, consideration, kindness, what's right, what's wrong, how to manage ourselves, how to groom ourselves, focusing on a subject, concentrating, seeing us think through. Religion, spirituality, nothing. It's a big wide gap. If some other family member takes over and fills in the gap, it's different. But otherwise, it just didn't happen, right? You just slip between the cup and the lip. There's also counter-parenting on the other hand. There are also parents who are hideous parents and should never have been parents to begin with. So there's also counter-parenting that can have similar result. So you don't want to get into,
Well, while we speak about trauma, terms like anxiety, depression, PTSD are being tossed around, be it social media or the headlines. What exactly is PTSD and what are the stages of it?
PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. And like it explains simply, post the trauma, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress, there can be depression. You may have nightmares, recurring nightmares, be unable to sleep, wake up in night sweats. You could have physical tics, a stammer, a stutter. You may have ruminating thoughts. You imagine the situation over and over again. You relive it. You can get very hypervigilant, looking over your shoulder all the time, sort of a thing. Walking around very gingerly. You can have anxiety to the point where you feel any small thing could trigger that situation again. You could want to avoid a situation at any cost, a repeat situation, or talking about whatever it was that happened that caused that stress at all. So these are some of the signs of PTSD.
Well, while these are so common, Nawaz, how do we understand at which stage are we at? And are there even any stages to PTSD?
There are specific stages to PTSD. First of all is the impact stage, where you make the choice instinctively there and then in the moment of fight, flight, or freeze. What do you choose to do? You've had a major situation. Maybe your car banged into a lamppost. Are you going to run? Are you going to stay? People have gathered around. Are you going to freeze? What are you going to do? Post that, you have the numbing stage, where you just zone out, you just disassociate to protect yourself. After that comes the hyperarousal state, where you're in hypervigilance. Then you have the rumination stage, where you're constantly kind of rethinking, reliving, you're sort of haunted by the past. Then it's followed by the emotional stage, where you reintegrate and you heal partway. And then finally, the eventual stages where you entirely reintegrate, you entirely heal, you get over it, you move on.
What if there are childhood traumas that we're not aware of, or we have suppressed it and we have blocked it, we are shutting down? How do we bring awareness to it and how do we deal with it?
Your question already incorporated the answer. The important thing, of course, we block because we want to protect ourselves, right? It's not done on an obvious conscious level. It happens unconsciously on the subconscious level. The first important thing to do is to first be aware of it. So try and unearth what it is that must have caused it. You may have certain signs, symptoms, clues, talking to family members, talking to people, the environment that used to be, to get some clues of something a little off, something deeper in the family, something that might have occurred, etc., etc. That wisdom is going to be lost to us in time and age over the years and mustn't be. The key to healing lies right there. Go with your gut. Keep a journal. Keep a diary. Diarize. Pay special attention to your dreams. They often give us very important clues. And again, hypnotherapy helps. With a really good, qualified, certified hypnotherapist, once you get the answer as to what really is at the root of it, healing is comparatively much easier. It's really first getting to that notion.
So now that we are aware about what caused the trauma, how do we heal it and how do we let go of the past?
So coming into awareness of your trauma, it's really important to get to a good therapist. There are many even online. They don't necessarily have to be in the place you're located at. The best ones really are online. There's a lot of information out there that helps. There's a lot of reading out there that can help. Live clean. So start respecting yourself. Eat clean, live clean, sleep well, Take time out for yourself, enjoy your hobbies, drink lots of water, put yourself first, spend time out in nature. It all starts with self-respect and showing up for yourself. Because one of the things that happens when we've had a lot of trauma is we start to disengage with ourselves on a certain level. We start to put ourselves second or last. We have a self-esteem issue. I'm not good enough. This happened to me because I was not good enough. Something in me was lacking. In healing, all things are going to come together. Every small bit of it that adds into the positive side of it adds into your healing. Every single thing that you're doing that takes away from it, I didn't care for myself, I didn't work out today, etc., all adds in the deficit. So it's most important to put it all together. All things come together to take you onto the other side of the fence.
Do you think that constant fatigue or lack of self-confidence are all the byproducts of going through something?
100%. Depression, anxiety, feeling low, feeling not good enough, or not feeling like doing anything, not showing up for yourself, not wanting to be out there, not wanting to engage with people. It's all a byproduct of feeling lesser than, not feeling good enough, feeling you want to kind of hide away under the kitchen sink.
Yeah, and you also mentioned, the first things that you do is respect yourself, that is taking care of yourself, going out there, enjoying your hobbies. These are all part of the self-love bubble. So is that the first step towards healing?
That's many steps, yes. Many steps altogether towards healing, along with the therapist. Nothing's going to replace that. And along with the education, when anything affects you, afflicts you, very good advice is get your hands on all the possible material you can on the subject and just absorb it. Knowledge is power. So get ahead of the game and know out there what it's all about. Master your ailment and you will be the master of it.
But what about the people who are in complete denial?
The sad part about being in complete denial is that it harms the person themselves more than anyone else, although it harms everybody in the ecosystem just as much. I think as evidence builds up more and more, and for instance, if you have a problem with getting on with people, you can't seem to hold relationships, you kind of blow them apart after a while. After the first 30, 40, 50 relationships, hopefully you'll kind of start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and figuring, hey, the writing's on the wall, there's the only common denominator out here is me. They could be wrong. There's only so much that I can make up different excuses to why I stopped talking to her or why I scrapped with him or why I fell out with XYZ. Beyond that, the intelligent person is going to figure, hey, I have an issue, whether you admit it to others or not. If you admit it to yourself and start taking corrective action, that's ideal, but that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, like you said, 50, 60 relations. People follow patterns, right? Patterns make them do the same things over and over again.
We are all creatures of habit. It's cyclical.
Does that also connect with childhood?
Childhood trauma? Absolutely. So the way we act and enact and behave, if I've had a traumatic childhood, I've been abandoned, for instance, I would have abandonment issues. Likely I might have abandonment issues. I might tend to hold on to people a lot more strongly and heavily, which may make them actually run away. Yeah, like they say, if you want to hold water, you don't close your palm. That's when you lose the water. You leave it open lightly and the water's already there. If I have attachment issues because I was hurt by somebody I was attached to, they left me, whatever it is, I may not want to attach with people. I may want to do it, but then always bolt or always leave them in the lurch or, whatever it is. So it invariably plays out till you get to the root of it and you sort it out. It's the seed, right? As we spoke earlier, if I have a lemon seed, I'm going to have lemons out of that tree. I'm not going to get mangoes out of it, no matter how much I lament. So I have to sort it out from that seed level. It's only when I get rid of that lemon seed and plant a mango seed there, nurture it, will it grow into a mango tree, and one day I'll have that fruit.
I also feel in the Indian households, therapy is looked at something like, oh my God, ये mental hospital hai kya, like that. And especially men, when they were boys, they were taught not to cry, to be the provider, to be out there, suppress their emotions. Do you think that also shapes the life of a man?
I think men have it particularly hard in that arena. Every human being has emotions. and they need a correct positive outlet. And when they don't get it, it comes out in all sorts of negative ways, negative behaviors. I might take to drinking, smoking, drugs, whatever it is. I might take to other harmful methodologies. I might lash out at people. I might be completely dysfunctional. I might disassociate, etc. So I think it's really healthy to live out our emotional sense, our intellectual sense, our every sense, like we live out our spiritual lives, etc. All of it needs to be lived out in a healthy fashion. However, that's not, yes, as you said, the way Indians always perceive it. And yes, it's perceived that there's something wrong with you if you have to go into therapy. You're a nut job. Anybody who's gone through trauma needs therapy. Just like you have a cardiac issue, you need a cardiologist. You have a gynec issue, you need a gynecologist, etc. It's simple.
So, there's a generational gap. What was abuse then is not. What was happiness then is not. And we perceive it in a way that we might exaggerate it. What is your expertise on that?
So, yes. When we were younger, in earlier generations, whacking a child here or there may have been quite the norm, may have been quite acceptable. When we were in school, teachers whacking us, etc., was quite normal. Now it's not at all. All hell would break loose if a teacher tried to do that or a parent tried to do that. In my opinion, what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. If your child is watching you hit them, beat them, abuse them, rage at them, etc., etc., they're learning that that is the norm. That is what I have to do. That is acceptable behavior. That's what I'm going to replicate going on forward. And that's never a good thing. So, yes, they may test our patience to the limit, but that's really when our own character shows up or doesn't, right? So there are better ways, and so that's what we need to teach our children. There are better ways of handling very difficult situations. You still handle it. It can be an iron fist in a velvet glove, but you still handle it in a correct fashion. You don't handle it wrongly. Two wrongs are not going to make one right.
Yeah, so basically, childhood memories or childhood trauma or everything related to childhood depends on parenting largely and everything that surrounds them?
Very largely, yes. Solely, no. But very largely, yes. Of course, there are many other family members, many other peer pressure. There's all sorts of things, the environment, all sorts of things that add to the pot, siblings, etc. But yes, parents have a very pivotal, monumental role out there.
So the only way to heal yourself is to go back to your childhood, see what has caused the trauma, and then become aware and accept and work on it.
Yes, work on it in a variety of ways, but yes, absolutely.
So Nawaz, thank you so much. I guess for us it was a session of enlightenment, motivating, inspiring. It was a lane down to childhood memories and trauma, like you said. And I'm sure the viewers have been benefited with this. And it's given a path to heal yourself and become a better version of yourself.
Absolutely. I hope it puts people who are watching the show at the head of their journey into self-introspection and getting the help that they need, if that should be the case.
Thanks for being on the show, The Healing Touch.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.